Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and you know that I love hip hop, and I love hip hop that is used in a way that is lifting our people as opposed to destroying our people. And an artist that who was brought to my attention, but a lot of people already follow him. I was kind of late to the game on this guy's great work. Is Mr. Mickey Factz. And he's going. I'm gonna let him decide if he wants you to know his actual name. But Mickey Factz is an artist. He's out of New York, from what I understand. Out of the Bronx, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, out of the Bronx, and he's an extraordinary artist who. And I'm gonna talk about this in a second. But he actually left NYU. He was studying pre-law, from what I understand. And he decided to become a full-time hip-hop artist. Since that time, he's become very successful. He's rapped with some of the best in the game. He happens to be in Chicago, but we're still doing the interview on Skype, and so I get a chance to talk to him. So first I'm going to ask Mickey, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great, Mr. Watkins. I'm very honored to be having this conversation with you, brother.
Man, the honor's all mine. It's all mine. And before we start, do you want people? You want me to talk about your actual name too, or do we just go by Mickey Factz?
Oh, we could go by Mickey Factz.
Okay, let's go by Mickey Factz. All right, Mr. Factz. All right.
Yes.
So I want to start with the NYU thing. And I know you've probably been asked about this a million times, but I'm sorry. We got to make it 1,000,001.
Okay.
So what was going on with leaving NYU to become a full-time artist? I mean, a lot of people initially would say, "Oh my God, what's he thinking? This is crazy." But I mean, you actually translated that into a successful career, and so definitely in hindsight, it doesn't look so crazy for you. How did that go?
Well, first off, I was working at a law firm. It was called Minton Fraud, and at the time, I was a mail clerk there, and I was a mail clerk there from 2002 to about 2004. I then decided that I wanted to do a little bit better for myself, and I toyed with the idea of becoming an attorney. So I decided to go back to school, and when I applied to NYU, and I applied for their paralegal studies department. And I went, and I knocked that out the park, and then I decided that I wanted to continue on. But then I began to realize that this wasn't the path for me to go on. I would be in class, falling asleep, writing music, being very bored. And during this time, I was still working at the law firm, and I would see how depressed and stressed the attorneys would be. They would do 12-hour days, and they were just out of it, basically. And that was something that I did not want to continue to pursue. And I felt like, doing something that made me happy, doing something that was very passionate, was something that I felt that I should have taken into account. And that's when I decided that I wanted to go and pursue music. And this was 2007. So from 2007, January 16th to now, I haven't had a job, and I haven't been back to school, and it's been like this since.
Wow. Well, I love it, and I think it's important to make that clear, because I happen to be a professor, but the first observation I've made is that really, if you look at professors, pastors, and hip hop artists, we kind of all have the same job. I mean, we're all using our skill in a specific style to share a specific message.
Yes.
Based on who we are and what we believe the world needs. And it's funny, when my daughters graduated from college, I unlike, say, a generation ago, I let them know, look, I don't think you actually always have to have a defined career per se, or you can take a career off the beaten path if you choose to do so, as long as you can pay your rent, maybe save something for retirement. Then at that point, find something that you love to do,
right.
And you're good. And I think that was actually thoughtful of you to get in touch enough with who you are to say, okay, this is not the life I want. Because a lot of people let the world put them in a box.
Yes.
I'm really a hip hop artist, but I'm actually gonna be this other thing. And then you spend your life sort of living all these what ifs. And now it's funny though. There's a guy I know who is similar to yourself, just maybe in a slightly different way. I don't know if you know Dr. Christopher Emdin at Columbia.
No.
Chris Emdin. One day I want you guys to, because you're almost the same age. he's a full time professor at Columbia, but he's not just an artist who will go in the studio and actually make songs, but he is a actually very good artist. I actually saw him when we went to Detroit, and we were in front of a group of 200-300 high school kids, and they told him to freestyle rap. So he literally busted a freestyle right in front of all these kids in Detroit, and that's a tough crowd, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I said, okay, brother, now I know that you are a real rapper. Like, because you get a lot of these people that say, oh yeah, I'm a rapper, but really they don't have a respect for how difficult it is, how much intelligence
Yes.
you actually have to have. So,
Right.
so anyway, one day I want you and Chris to meet. But anyway, so about your work, man. I saw you. The first thing I saw was a video that I think everybody should check out, called Paradise. They had a couple million views.
Yes.
Can you tell me about not just that song and if you were surprised that it did so well, but also just what happens? How did your life change, or if at all, how did your life change when you had this video that just did extremely well for the public?
Well, during that time when I put it out, we got 200,000 views in a day, and I did 1 million in that week. Right now, it's sitting at, I want to say, 2 million, and a couple of other numbers on a couple of other sites. So in total, it's probably at maybe 4 million on a couple of different platforms of video
Oh, so I was
images.
underestimating them. My
Yeah.
bad. Okay.
But that was it was a return record for me because I had took some time off for a good year in 2009, and so in 2010, I came back, and it was a very strong record that Jive Records was pushing at the time, and it was on the radio, and it basically, everything pretty much changed at that time. My schedule became a little more difficult. I was getting 300 emails a day as opposed to about 50. And, at the time it was a great time because, I was just starting to kind of reemerge into the scene and leave my mark in the game.
Okay, well, I love it. So you just did a great video that you showed me that eventually everyone else will get a chance to see.
Yes.
Detroit. I want to make sure I get this right. The song is called Detroit Red, correct?
Yes, Detroit Red, yes.
Okay, and it appears to be a tribute to the great Malcolm X.
Hmm.
And you went through a lot of work to really lay out what I thought was a very powerful creative expression of
Yes.
Detroit Red. Tell me about that song and what was you thinking when you created that?
Well, for some time now, I've always wanted to do a tribute to Brother Malcolm for a very long time, and it's not done yet. It's going to be like a 5-part series. I kind of want to take it through his whole life and not just leave it at Detroit Red, but I wanted to definitely start at the beginning of his life and kind of give a audio biography on what he went through as a young teen, as a child, and as a young adult just before he was incarcerated. And I feel like our youth sometimes, our history is sometimes disregarded. And the only, using hip hop as a tool to reach out with these type of historical topics can definitely reach a broader audience, especially with, the bass, the drum, and the sound of the music. So for me, I wanted to tap into my creative side, my storytelling side, and give the first part of a 5-part series of Brother Malcolm's life. And I think it came out extremely well. Dyed my hair brown, as people can see. I have black hair. I dyed it brown or red, whatever. Shaved my face. I used to have a thick beard. I shaved my face, permed my hair. Bought zoot suits and different costumes and hired actors and got props and locations, and it was an 8-day shoot, and we got a lot done, and I learned a lot from the actors. I learned a lot about his mannerisms, and it was a lot of research, and I think when it hits the masses, I think people are going to really appreciate the creativity that I'm trying to bring forth in hip hop, and it's a really good record, and I really can't wait for everybody else to experience it as you've experienced it this evening.
Yeah, I thought the video was extraordinary. Anybody who has a chance to see it should definitely check it out, and also support you, because I just like your work, and I like the way I like the direction you have in in terms of how you express yourself. So I'm going to ask you this: who are your favorite hip hop artists right now?
Right now, I would say Jay-Z, Kanye West, Drake, Kendrick, um, Big Sean, Jay Electronica, Lupe Fiasco. It probably stops right there. That's probably where it stops.
Okay. Well, what about underground?
Underground, I haven't really checked out a lot of guys, but there are guys that I love. Like MF Doom, Elzai, Fonte. I can the list can go on and on and on. Joe Budden, Crooked Eye, Royce, Joel. I can roll names off forever and ever. I'm a fan of the lyricist, somebody who can push me to want to be better than them. So and it's not a lot of guys that I feel like that about. Even Blue from California. Aside from those guys, I don't really particularly listen to a lot of guys on the underground circuit.
So how do you feel about the state of hip hop right now? I mean, overall, if somebody were to describe where hip hop is today versus where it was, say, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, how would you compare the two?
Well, what I feel is hip hop. Back in the mid 1990s and maybe early 1990s, hip hop was diversified, and you were able to listen to different types of hip hop on the radio, and it was being promoted as such. So if you wanted to have your lyrical stuff, you can listen to Nas, you can listen to Rakim. If you wanted your philosophy stuff, you can listen to KRS-One on the radio. You can listen to Rakim at times too. If you wanted your swagger, you had Biggie, you had Kane. You wanted goofiness, you had Das Effects, you had Biz Markie. You wanted storytelling, you had Slick Rick. There were so many different elements that was going into how it was promoted and marketed. As of late, from I want to say, after Diddy kind of forced people to not only craft their songs in a 16-bar structure with a chorus, but then the sound that was more more relatable for a record, for a radio station, for advertisers, began to shift. And then that's when the shift began. And then you just only pretty much heard a specific sound. And as of late now, the bling, I wouldn't say the bling era, but the shiny suit era, the bling era, and the Casio-driven era has now turned into the trap era. And we're in an era where the radio and the cable networks are now pushing forward a specific sound that is dictating what hip hop is in 2014, which in turn is now hypnotizing the kids that are coming up, and they're not able to grasp onto what different elements of hip hop, and they have to do a harder search for it, which is fine because we do live in a digital era, but there are still people who only rely on the radio, and if you only rely on the radio, you only have a 15 song rotation and then that hinders other artists that are trying to break free into the mainstream a chance to shine and be successful.
Well, I noticed that in your list of your favorite artists, you're out of New York. You didn't mention another New York artist by the name of Bobby Shmurda. So, and I say that with a giggle. So tell me, and I'm not laying this out here in a way that's gonna create controversy for yourself, because you run in these circles. I kind of do and kind of don't. When you see an artist like a Bobby Shmurda come in, and he's a New York artist technically, but he's sort of got this sound and this theme and style that appears to not be New York. It appears to be everything, a little bit of West Coast, a little bit of South, a little, but I don't really see New York in him. How does that make you feel? I mean, when you just see, because you understand the industry, you understand how artists become as big as they become. What goes through your mind when you kind of see something like that? The song, I think his best song was called "Hot Nigga." When you see a hot nigga rise up above great, really, I mean, truly brilliant artistry like what you did with Paradise, stuff like that. I mean, how does that? What goes through your mind when you see this happen?
First of all, I commend him for getting out of whatever situation he was in order to succeed. But I do feel that New York artists, we lost our sound somewhere. And, Bobby Shmurda, no disrespect to him, but he sounds like he's from Chicago. And, the record Hot Nigga it's not, I don't feel it's a New York record. I think it's more so of a regional record. And I think, they're pigeonholing what a New York artist should sound like. When ASAP Rocky came out, he was sounding like a Houston rapper. And people were saying, oh, he's from Houston, but he's from New York. And he sounded like he's from Houston, but he's from New York. And it seems like that's the only way for a new artist to break free out of the metropolitan area of New York City. And for me, I feel like we've lost our soul somewhere. We lost our sound. We lost what made New York City, New York City. And we have to find it somehow. I don't know how we're going to find it, how I feel about it. I mean, you got to just take it in stride and continue to, create and hope that, the same way, he struck gold, I can do the same thing. And it can be two titans coming from different sides of the spectrum, to give forth what we feel is what New York is about, because New York is a melting pot city of different cultures and different sounds, and it shouldn't be classified as just the Bobby Shmurda sound. It should be classified as a melting pot, a very diversified sound of culture, especially within New York City. And New York, we're the Mecca, and it seems like we are dead last when it comes to hip hop right now, and it's very disheartening.
Well, it's funny. You said something that was interesting. Well, when we first started talking about Bobby, and I agree with you. I mean, I'm happy for the brother. In that I do think it takes a certain kind of brilliance to create a sound that catches on the way his record did. So I don't even think it's a matter of being critical of the artistry or anything like that. But one thing I really wonder is this. You mentioned, you said I congratulate him on getting out of his situation, right? And sort of reaching success, whatever we think that means for us. And I think it's important to lay that on the table as black men and say, what is success? What does it mean to be in a better situation than the one you were in before? From what I understand, Bobby Shmurda is facing some prison time. Is that correct? On that gun charge. Is that right?
No, that was something that was previous. I think they just brought it up, just to dig dirt on him, kind of like what they do, for when politicians are getting closer and closer to the election process. But that's something that was old.
Okay, so that's behind them then.
Yes, that's behind them. Right.
Okay. Then we can take that off the table because here's the thing. Sometimes you see guys that hit that pinnacle of success, or they have that breakout record or whatever the case may be, and it almost seems that this sort of imagery of a certain lifestyle that they may be promoting in their music ends up sort of taking over who they are as men, who they are as people. In fact, you see it. For example, I was talking to somebody today about whether or not it's good for a black man to get a chance to play in the NFL. Because what she said was, a lot of the guys I knew that played in the NFL, their bodies are banged up, they got brain damage. Many of them didn't get a good education because they invested so much in sports, and many of them are even addicted to drugs, painkillers they took while they played, stuff like that. So you almost wonder if there's an equivalent sometimes when you talk about sort of being absorbed by a certain kind of lifestyle that may come with certain streams of hip hop. Because I truly believe that hip hop has an authenticity that other art forms don't have. Robert De Niro, if he does a movie, he's going to come out and tell you, look, I played a killer in the movie, but I'm really not a killer. Most guys who rap about being killers are not going to come out and say, oh, I was just pretending. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it varies. It varies.
Right, so let me ask you. Right, now you might have some cases, like for example yourself, you're imitating Detroit Red, and there's a reason you're doing that. There's a logic to it. You're telling a story. You're being a creative artist. But if I just get in there and I say, if I'm bragging about how high I am today, or how many women I fucked, how many people I have killed, I can't. Or if I say I'm a Crip or I'm a Blood, I can't come out and say I'm pretending. Right. And so the question I would have for you as an artist, this is my last question here. Do you think How do you think that we can respect the creative freedom for artists, right? And I consider you to be a true artist. I don't think everybody in hip hop is an artist. I think some guys are gimmicks. Some of them would be better, in some sort of commercial as
Yes.
opposed to actually claiming to be hip hop artists. But how do you respect creative freedom for artists while at the same time directly confronting the fact that millions of young black people, particularly young black men, are being influenced by some messages that, to be quite honest, are pretty self-destructive? How do you draw that line?
Well, for me, I try my best to always inspire the people that are listening to my music. I can't I feel like everyone should be able to express what they feel on a track. However, I feel the marketing is what's destroying hip hop. I feel like, I don't feel everybody is making commercialism records, or self-depreciating records, or violent records, or records of this nature. I feel like what's being marketed, the singles, is what's devaluing the communities that we are a part of. And I try extremely hard whenever I put out a mixtape to choose a record that, the first record that I put out, to choose something that sets the tone of what I'm trying to convey. So Detroit Red, for example, was the first single off of my mixtape 740 Park Avenue, which basically was about a doorman who lived in this luxury building trying to explain, he was being interviewed and he's trying to explain to the people that he works for what, the correlation between what Detroit Red means to him and what Detroit Red means to the patron that lives in the particular building. And then my last project, Love, Lust, Lost 2, which is an all love mixtape, I chose to put a record on there with featuring Erykah Badu, which is uplifting relationships. And I feel like, as an artist, I have that responsibility to try and encourage, inspire, educate, and uplift everyone, not just my particular culture, but everybody that listens to the music. Because at the end of the day, we need some sort of balance. There is no balance in hip hop anymore. Everything is just trap, kill, Molly, drunk, how much money I got, how much money I'm spending, how many women I have, what car I have. And these are things that don't hold any value in the long run of life. And it seems as if, because it's being marketed as this, and it's so impressionable upon our youth, this is what they look to, and this is what they want to become, and this is what they try to aspire to, as opposed to wanting to finish college, wanting to follow their dreams, wanting to get married, wanting to start a business, wanting to do whatever. It just seems as if hip hop has put it to the point where it's a me, and this is what I've done to this person, and you are not on my level. You will never be on my level, and I'm going to gloat to you. And then as someone listens to it, they juxtaposes themselves into this position to try to attain these exact things and branch out and flood it out to the masses. And that is, for me, I don't want to be in that category. I want to be someone who puts out product that another person wouldn't think to put out, and have it be successful and continue to push the creativity and the lyricism that I grew up on. I grew up on Big Daddy Kane. I grew up on Rakim. I grew up on Biggie Smalls. I didn't grow up on Lil Wayne or Drake. These are my contemporaries. They're not, the people that I grew up on. And I have a higher standard in which I want to continue to meet and match, as opposed to, what everyone else, gives to the people.
You know, that's interesting. When you say that, it makes me think about when you talk about sort of putting yourself on this pedestal and saying, "Look at all these things I have that you'll never have." You know, it makes you think about what was that? I guess I don't know if the song was "Nigga in Paris" or what, but where he's talking
Hmm.
about, "Can you see the private jet flying over you?"
Hmm.
And I just thought about that, and you contrast that to say Muhammad Ali, who always said, "I'm the greatest," but he elevated the people.
Right.
He made everybody feel like you could be the greatest too.
Yes.
He would never say something like, "Look at how much better than you I am." And I'm not criticizing, you know, what was said in that, you know, in that particular song, the nigga in Paris stuff and all that. I'm just saying that it's astonishing to me that that one could. It never made sense to me that you could build a career by telling your fans, "Look at how much better my life is than yours."
Right.
I don't get that, you know. But then again, you know, we all have our own taste. It is what it is. But I think that your point about you know the commercialization, the marketing, you know, I think that's the interesting thing that has to be kind of dealt with because. You know, I remember I had a debate with another scholar at Brown about it was Michael Eric Dyson where we were talking about hip hop and he kept it and I was saying, well, look at certain messages, look at the repetitiveness of these messages, and look at what's kind of what's kind of being done here, right? You have a
Right.
brainwashing process here, and he kept leaning on creative expression. He kept saying, well, artists have the right to express themselves. I think we all agree on that. I mean,
Right.
when I see you as an artist, I see expression, man. I just see a guy who's like, this is my soul, my spirit. This is who I am, and I see it in every song of yours I've seen. I've seen you being an artist in every way, but to me, that's very different from someone who is repeating what some corporate executive has told them to say in order
Hmm.
to sell more records. Right? When you're an artist and you come into into your label and you say, I want to make a couple songs about love. I want to make a song about, you know, my brother got killed. I want to make a song about maybe a song about how you know I used to sell dope. Another song about you know, flowers and trees or education or whatever inspires me. And let's say that they hear all that and they say, no, 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 we need you to focus on selling dope. We want every song to be about, you know, what it was like selling dope, how many women you had, how many dudes you killed. And it's that repetitiveness that ultimately takes it away from the realm of free speech and
Hmm.
makes it into corporate speech,
Hmm.
right? That's what it is, right? So
Right.
it almost seems to me that as black men, we are put into that minstrel show, and it's sort of they take the diversity of who we are and
Yes.
shrink it down into this one, two, three dimensional character that's really becomes like a cartoon character. I mean,
Right.
nobody is as thugged out and as gangster and as crazy as some of these guys are made to be. But you get into an arms race where it's like, okay, I need to have more tattoos than him. I need to
Right.
have bigger chains than him. I need to have more guns than him. I need to do something more outrageous, something more niggardly than the
Hmm.
person next to me, so
Right.
that I can survive in this industry. And you can't blame the artist sometimes because, you know, they're trying to survive. If that's all you know how to do.
Right.
So okay, so anyway, I said what I'm gonna say, man. I didn't mean to keep going on. As you know,
No,
I have
it's
strong
fine.
feelings about this, man, and I just appreciate what you do so much because I like the fact that you express the complexity of black maleness, which says so. Literally, you could almost say anything on a record, and most of the time, I probably wouldn't have any objection to any of it because I
Right.
would know it's coming from your heart, from your soul, from your spirit, right?
Yes.
That's why I respect you, man. So, uh, last question. What else is going on with you, man? I know you're on tour right now.
Right.
You're in Chicago, and that was how
Yes.
you and I linked up. What else you got going on?
Well, right now, I'm getting ready to release the Detroit Red record, and I'm on tour right now in support of my last two projects, 740 Park Avenue and Love, Lust, Lost 2. Um, I have a record called 13th Disciple that I shot a video for, which should be coming out soon. And then I'm working on a trilogy mixtape called Y3, which is it's from Why Not, Y, and then Y3. And actually, giving you a sneak preview, I was in Memphis and I went to go see the hotel where King was assassinated, and it was very humbling. It was very heartfelt, and again, I am inspired by what I see. So on Y3, there will be a song called Room 306, in which I try to put together a story of what may have happened in that room and during that time, and try to convey that to the people. You know, I want to try to do some sort of historical piece on every one of my projects. On Love Lust Lost 2, I actually have a song called Ruby and Ossie, which is dedicated to the love that Ruby Dee and Ossie Davis had for 57 years. And you know, I want to be able to do things in this particular nature, so it continues to just showcase the creativity. So that's what I'm working on for December. It's coming out December 13th, 2014. And then I'm, you know, trying to go into the new year with a positive mindset and trying to push the envelope, continue to push the envelope, continue to think of creative ways and different things to express and talk about, you know, musically. I feel like, you know, someone said to me the other day that, you know, oh man, there's no more concepts to talk about when it comes to hip hop. And I'm like, what? There's so many things that we can discuss and talk about, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like I have that job to do, and I'm going to hold myself to that each and every time I release a project.
All right. Well, I love it, brother. I respect your work a lot, and I respect other educated black men. I know a black educated black man when I see one. So,
Thank you, sir.
yeah, man. I want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it, man.
Oh, yeah, man, same here, brother. I wish it could have been in person, but, you know, we'll get there one day, man.
Oh yeah, we'll make it happen, man. You're a busy brother. You need to go make your money, man. We'll meet up when you retire, man. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, everybody, this is Mr. Mickey Factz. He is a brilliant artist out of the Bronx, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
I don't want to get the borough wrong. I get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
And you got to check his music out. It's brilliant. It's creative, and I love it. And I think that this is a reflection of the fact that hip hop is beautiful, wonderful, and brilliant. And so I say all this so that the next time you all hear me critique some of the craziness that's going on, you understand that I don't have an issue against all hip hop artists. There are some artists that I think are just among the greatest people in our community, and Mickey Factz is one of them. And for those who are watching, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World. Thank you for checking us out. And until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. We are gone. Peace.
Peace.